This is Jim Jubak for Jubak Asset Management Daily Video or Daily Weekly Video, whatever. Today's video is a quick pick. It's a complicated one because depending on the time frame you're using, this is either a buy on a reasonably strong basis or a let's not hold this and get ourselves into trouble. And the stock, of course, is Apple. Short term, Apple usually gets a bounce out of its Worldwide Developers Conference, which is happening in early May this year. They announced lots of new products. I think this year we're going to see a lot of promises about AI. And I think that usually pops the stock, as well as Apple tends to introduce a lot of new products in the fall, and that also tends to pop the stock. Apple's been sort of lately, and the reasons for that. And the reasons for that being and the reason for I don't really want to hold the stock after any pop we get from May and say September is that I'm really worried about the long-term strategic choices the company's making. Two in particular. They came out with an upgrade of their lowest end iPhone. That's the iPhone SE. The thing that bothers me about it is that it came out with a higher price. Apple really doesn't have a low price entry-level phone in the market anymore. They've pretty much ceded that market to the Chinese players and to Samsung. That's great for your profit margins, but it means that I think one of the strengths of Apple is that once you get into the Apple ecosystem of all the software and the stores and all that, it becomes a very, very compelling buy. But you got to keep feeding people into the stream at the bottom, which means that you have to have a phone for them to start before they're convinced of this. So that's one problem. The second problem is that Apple just came out and said, you know, those AI add-ons to Siri that we were talking about last September, and we were really saying, you know, we didn't quite get them out in time to make the current update, but they'll be available to add on to Siri starting in maybe April or May of 2025. Well, not going to happen. Now it's going to be sometime later in the year. And the way that Apple's been going in this market, that may mean 2026. This is not a good time to be lagging on your AI competitive products. Amazon's Alexa is already out there. That's moving toward a full-scale AI assistant for doing tasks. And Apple is still introducing add-ons to Siri that really aren't compelling enough to make anyone want to buy an Apple phone based on just the new AI stuff. So I think what we're going to see is disappointing sales in December, particularly out of China, where Apple's facing a lot of competitive pressure as well, a lot of government pressure. So not looking at a good December quarter, which is normally the company's strongest quarter of the year. So I don't really want to hold the stock. If we get a bounce in, say, September from those product announcements, that's great. I would use it as an opportunity to sell. I really don't want to hold it at the end of the year when we start to get disappointing noise. And we start to get more and more people noticing that Apple hasn't been able to sort of march along at the same speed as its AI competitors. I think right now that story is limited to people like Mark Gurman at Bloomberg, who've been pushing it really hard and doing great reporting. And I think that as it comes to be more and more appreciated, it's another reason why people are going to say, well, Apple's growth is really not looking all that great over the long term. So if you're looking at Apple stock and you own Apple stock, I think you probably want to hold it through June, September on those possible bumps. But I think you might consider selling it before the end of the year, because I think it's going to be a tough December quarter for Apple. Ticker, of course, for Apple is AAPL. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, please go to YouTube and give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you get notification of when we do our next one, and that's free. Speaking of free, you can also go to my free website. Someone walked in my grave. Not unusual in Venice. You can go to my free website. That's jubakpicks.com, where I've got 3 portfolios. That's 12 to 18 months, 5 years, as well as dividends, and that's free. You just need to give us your email so we can send you alerts every day on it whenever a new post goes up. Or you can subscribe, which gets you 6 portfolios instead of 3. Those 3 that I just mentioned, plus a volatility portfolio, plus a long-term beyond 5-year portfolio, and an ETF portfolio. And you can find links to all those down below, as well as a link to my Substack. I moved to Italy in September of 2023. My wife has always had the dream of living in Italy, and our kids are old enough so we can say, hey, we're going to Italy and you guys can hang here in New York or Brooklyn, to be specific, and Boston. And so that's what we're doing. We're living in Venice right now. We spent part of the summer in Sicily. You can subscribe to our Substack, which gets you an email when I do the next one. I'm doing about 1 a week, and that's free. And you can find a link to that also down below. So thanks very much for watching.